Hello, John Talley here from Partzilla.com. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the belt on our 2015 Polaris RZR 900S. It's not necessary to take the tire off, but I wanted to go ahead and lift it up, get the tire out of the way so you can really see what I'm doing. So let me get a couple of tools and I'll show you how to get it done. Alright guys, this is going to be a skill level 1, but it is a solid one, so you really need to pay attention to what you're doing in there. Alright, as far as the tools that you're going to need, let's go over that real quick. As always, 3/8 ratchet, a couple of different 3/8 extensions, and then you're going to need an 8 and a 15 millimeter socket, and then a 10 millimeter wrench. Beyond that, as always, a good torque wrench. If you would, reference our exploded diagrams. That'll give you a very clear picture of where everything is that you may potentially need to order for your machine. So once you've got your tools and your parts together, we can go over there and I can show you how to get it done. Alright, let's start off by getting this Zerk fitting out of the way. Now we just need to remove all these bolts for the cover itself. Just lift off with a little coercion. There we go. Looks like she's had water in there a couple of times. And if you know that you've ingested water on yours, there's your drain hole right here. Plus I can see a little bit of damage right here when that previous belt evidently flew apart inside. You can see where it damaged the outside of the back cover right here. The other thing I'm looking for is the condition of the seal toward the back of the cover. I can see where it's a little bit ripped up. So I think I'm going to go ahead and replace that while I'm here. All right, this belt actually doesn't seem to be in that bad a shape. We're going to go ahead and take it all the way off and really inspect it. Now to do that, on a non-EBS model like this one, you just need to loosen up this driven clutch bolt. Alright, but now you can get them to separate and you can just walk it off from the bottom, turning it counterclockwise. Now you want to make notice of which direction the writing was going, because when a belt is brand new, you can put it on either direction. It's just once it gets worn in, that's the way it has to be reinstalled if you were going to reuse it. Now what I'm looking for here, as I'm bending the belt, is any cracks. First I'm going to look at the outside, then we're going to do the same thing to the inside. Want to make sure there's no broken off sections anywhere or any cracks. This belt seems to be in pretty good shape. Since we are right here, let's go ahead and pull off the driven clutch and take a look at the sheaves. Alright, so what I'm looking for here is to make sure that the surfaces are not glazed over. I mean, this one's got a little bit of pitting on it, nothing too terrible. What I like to do, if there is any type of glazing that is built up on the surface, is to get a Scotch-Brite pad and just a little bit of brake contact cleaner and just re-rough it up, so to speak. I mean, it's almost like you're, I don't want to say scoring, but when you rebuild an engine, you hone the cylinder. That way the piston rings actually seat into the cylinder walls. And it's kind of a similar process that we're doing here, except we're actually introducing a rubber belt in here, and it's going to leave part of its rubber on the surface of the sheave, and that'll give it a much better engagement, and you know, it'll pull stronger if you break it in properly. So let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll also clean the drive clutch. And do the other side. one looks good to go. All right, now remember that X needs to end up in the correct orientation with the other one, so it's over here. There. So X there and one there. All right, for the drive clutch, we can actually clean it up in place. It'll take a little bit longer, but it's not absolutely necessary to pull it off. The other thing you want to feel for is in the very center, there's a bearing, a spherical bearing. You want to make sure that that's moving, and it is. It feels smooth. I'm just rotating it with my tips of my fingers. All right, got it cleaned back up. Let's go ahead and get our driven clutch back on. Just want to get the bolts started and then pull back on it, open it back up. Got our new belt. I'm going to install it where Polaris is actually going from left to right. Get it over the driven edge. You just want to walk it up. Now, when you're getting ready to tighten this back down, you want to push the belt out to the outer edges, otherwise it'll get pinched as we tighten this bolt back. All right, what I did was just put it in gear. Now I've got somebody up inside holding the brakes. Now we can go ahead and torque this down. Once again, make sure you walk that out. Walk the belt out to the far edge. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and pull out that old seal so we can replace it. Yeah, it was looking pretty rough there. It was actually missing a section. So, definitely needed to be replaced. Now we want to put it back in with a little white line going to the inside. A whole lot easier to take out than to put back in. As you're putting it in, make sure you're laying it in flat. Don't let it twist on you. Now, let's get our cover back on. When you're doing this, don't tighten them down till you get all of them at least started. Make sure it's actually centered and in the groove properly. And notice where I'm holding the wrench all the way up at the head, because this is just plastic. You grab it out here, you end up stripping it. All right, next let's go ahead and get our Zerk fitting back in there. And that should do it right there. Well, all right, guys, that pretty much finishes this one up. All I need to do now is just remount the tire, make sure that I torque it down to 120 foot-pounds when I do so. Well, listen, you're going to need to go through a break-in procedure now if you just replaced your belt. So in other words, go easy on it for about the first 20 or 30 miles. Try not to run it wide open. Give it some time to run all the way through its range. Don't tow anything. Don't load it down really heavy. That way you'll get the most life out of your belt. Well, listen, if you need any of the parts that we use to do this, why don't you come see us at Partzilla.com and we can get you taken care of. If you have any questions or comments, leave in the section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Till next time, we just want to say thanks for watching.